Hello. Those who've been watching my channel have followed my path with Christ and my struggles with my anxiety, talking about politics, and my struggle against porn. I really don't believe porn has any social redeeming function. I believe that it takes something that's supposed to be beautiful between two people who love each other. And I do believe in the compounds in the covenant of marriage, where two flesh can become one. I believe it degrades it. I believe it cheapens it. I believe it. If you look, a lot of porn is like positions of power, and manipulation and humiliation, and I think it degrades, and I think a lot of young women wanting to be starlets, going to California, and just having to deal. Go to pinkcross.org, I believe it is, and you can just see how bad it really is. And I know porn is cheap, but they're trying to make it it's okay, but it is degradation, and I do believe porn is part of the sodomizing of America and of the world. That being said, after I was born again in September of 2008, I was able to quit. And I tried to quit a lot. I would buy magazines, usually the magazines with a free DVD. Everybody has a niche in porn. Something like mine was like barely legal, just 18, etc. And I think I know why, because in high school I was lonely. Girls didn't want to have anything to do with me, and I was fantasizing that that's what porn really is. You fantasize about the girl that you never had, or it's basically you don't have to deal with the interpersonal relationships of male and female. She is just willing and able to do whatever you want. And that idea is very intoxicating. And so I'd buy magazines, I'd throw them away, and I would always get back. And I stopped. I was able to stop, like I said, in September 2008, and I went to reading stories. Because I thought, yes, it's still sinning. My erotic stories was like methadone. It wasn't like crack cocaine, or it wasn't heroin, but it was kind of leading me off. And I try to read stories just about married couples, and kind of strayed. And I'm doing this. Part of me says I shouldn't be doing this, that it's like embarrassment, but part of me thinks that if it helps other people, I do, like I said, I do believe pornography is part of sexual brokenness. And it's a lack of connection. And part of my social anxiety disorder is it's very hard to make friends. It's very hard to talk to people, especially members of the opposite sex, because of fear of rejection. And I think that all stemmed from high school, because I would ask girls out and I'd be rejected all the time. And so porn was my outlet. Porn was my sexual outlet. But then it also twists the way you view the opposite sex. You start viewing them as sex objects. And this is just a little side topic. I'm really sick of like preteen girls and teenage girls dressing with the very, very short shorts and the very, very like tank tops and stuff where you see the cleavage and stuff like that. No modesty whatsoever. And I see that, and immediately my brain goes to lusty thoughts, and I try to say no, and I try to push that aside and not focus on it, because I believe that men will have sexual thoughts. And I know Jesus said, if you lust in your heart, you've committed adultery. I personally think it's not the passing thought; it's the actual looking at her and like actually fantasizing, actually having sex with her. But yes, it's just the immodesty of today's youth is very frustrating. nonetheless, like I said, I did stories, and I didn't do any magazines, DVDs, porn sites. And the past couple of weeks, I've been like really, really lonely, very, very depressed, very, very anxious, and a little whisper in the back of my head. I mean, some could call it Satan. I mean, I do believe in evil. I do believe in the devil, but I also believe we all have personal darkness. And so I'm not saying that it was Satan who made me do it, but it was the personal darkness inside, the sinful nature inside. And basically saying, oh, there are erotic photography sites like FemJoy and graceful nudes. That's not bad. I mean, it's not like Penthouse or Hustler. And so I started looking at them, but I feel guilty. I don't like doing that, but I feel drawn to it. I mean, the sins of the flesh are very, very powerful. And I mean, signs of sin, when you have sex, that releases endorphins, and I mean, it can be addictive. It can be like drugs. And I mean, they're very beautiful women. I mean, more 18, 19, 20, again. And I mean, just in very graceful and very classic poses. But still, I'm not married to them. I'm fantasizing about having sex with someone I am not married to. And I know a lot of people who aren't Christians will probably watch this and say, what's wrong with that? It's a release. I mean, you're single. I mean, you're not married. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have someone that you have sex with, that you can have that release. So it's okay. But I mean, I was listening to Blazing Gray Show, which is a podcast about sexual brokenness, and he said that he talked to medical doctors, and they said that you do not need to masturbate. You do not need that release. That eventually, when it builds up, you'll have nocturnal emissions, wet dreams, whatever. But it's more of a psychological need. And so I don't know if I should go cold turkey. I did that once before, and the longest I lasted was a week. I'm talking about cold turkey from masturbation, from everything. And that was Holy Week last year, and I was able to do it. But then, of course, I went back to the stories. And but then the other thing is to wean myself off. Like maybe like once every other day starting, and then once every third day, and then once every fourth day, and then keep building the larger gaps between until eventually I am not doing it. And I pray to God to help me quench this fire and quench this desire, but then I feel guilty when I do fall off the wagon, when I do succumb, because then am I making God a liar? I mean, I'm asking God to help me, but I succumb. Am I saying that God isn't powerful enough to heal my sexual sins? Or does that mean I'm not saved because I am sinning and I am succumbing to erotic sins of the flesh? I mean, I know God forgives, and I know you can't let the heart condemn you because you won't be bold before the Lord, but this is difficult. This is very, very difficult. And I know, I think 10 out of 16 Christians suffer from some form of sexual brokenness. And I'm one of them. And all I have to do is pray and try to find out what is the best way to get off of this. And probably stop the FemJoy and MetArt and those websites and just go back to the stories. And then hopefully I can stop the stories. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I promised to do a video on Republican Gomorrah, which I'll probably do either today or tomorrow. So God bless, and just know that as long as you're struggling with sin, I believe as long as you are fighting it, you might succumb, God will be with you in that fight. But when you give up and you just go for the sin, you don't care about the repercussions, that's when I think God will not be at your back. Love you. God